Hi everybody. I miss you guys, but I want to keep reading to you the book we were reading, Her Own 2 Feet. So this is for Miss Cole's class and Mrs. Hammond's. So when we left off, Rebecca had just heard the white woman from America tell her mom that eventually Rebecca would be too heavy for her to carry. And so she's kind of upset right now. Weeks passed. Rebecca felt as if she carried a burden heavier than the water jug inside her, full and sloshing. Fear and worry spilled into other parts of her life. She tried to eat less so she wouldn't get too heavy for her ankles, but her stomach groaned and complained. She was distracted at school, imagining herself as a grown woman crawling on the ground, spotted with cow dung, people spitting at her and calling her hardly human for the rest of her life. Perhaps she could get a wheelchair, or Papa could make her one from bicycle tires and a chair, but her life did not consist of shiny flat floors like they had in the clinic. There was dirt floors with potholes that turned to muck in the rainy season, doorways that were too thin for a chair to fit through, and a big stone step that led into the house. Even if a wheelchair worked in her world, she would still need someone to push her around. She could not lift her arms and make them spin the wheels. She must continue walking. She must. In the spring, a few months after the Mzungu's visit, remember Mzungu's are what they call the white people, a woman came to visit from Africa New Life, the organization that found sponsors for all the students at her school. Rebecca was sitting on the concrete floor, rubbing her sore feet and staring out through the open doorway when she saw the woman walk across the dirt yard. "Hello," said the woman. She peered inside the house. "May I come in and talk to your parents? I have some exciting news to share." "Mama," she called, "someone is here." Come in," said Mama, hurrying to the door. "Let me get my husband." The woman settled onto the couch across from Mama and Papa. She had a pretty dress and a friendly face. "Do you remember a man who met you when Medea's sponsor came to visit?" she asked, leaning forward and clasping her hands together. Rebecca nodded. "He was wearing an orange shirt and he gave me a piece of candy." "Yes, and his name is Clay Davis, and when he went home, he showed some pictures of Rebecca's feet to her sponsor, Dr. Rice. The Rice family is the one who pays for Rebecca's school tuition." "I didn't know there was a doctor in Rebecca's sponsor family," said Mama. "And Dr. Rice didn't realize his sponsor child had disabilities. He has arranged for doctors in America to examine Rebecca to see if they can help correct her feet." Mama's mouth fell open and Papa rubbed his bald head. "In America?" asked Rebecca. "If the doctors decide they can help you, they will treat you for free," the woman said, turning to Rebecca and smiling, "and you can stay with the Davis family while you are in America." "Doctors have told us before that they could help Rebecca, but they couldn't," Mama said, shaking her head. "Nobody is making any promises," said the woman, "except to examine her. They will only treat Rebecca and do surgery if they think it will work. They have to see her before they can decide." "Surgery?" asked Papa. "Maybe," said the woman. "They'll have to wait and see. She could be in America just a few weeks, or she may be there for a year. It all depends on what the doctors say." "A year?" "America?" said Mama, as if it was just now sinking in. "They want to fly Rebecca to America?" "Chance comes once," said Papa as he took Mama's hands. Rebecca stood up and walked across the room, out the door, and into the yard, where Medea was drawing pictures with a stick. She remembered the day her parents left her at the clinic for 8 long months. Now they wanted to send her away again? "Rebecca, why are you crying?" Medea asked. She told her sister everything the woman had said. "All the way to America?" asked Medea. "That's so far. I don't want you to leave again." "I don't want to leave you either." She sat down and wiped her wet cheeks on her knee. She leaned into Medea so their shoulders and legs touched. "Look, there's a plane," said Medea, pointing to the sky. Rebecca tilted her head back to see. "If you went to America, you'd fly in one of those." It looked like a tiny silver toy in the sky. The white puffy trail it left behind wasn't so different from the trail a bike left behind in the dirt. "I used to think it was crazy that 2 bicycle tires could hold a man and his heavy load," Rebecca said. "Almost as impossible as walking on the tops of my feet." "But you did it," said Medea. "I did, with your help, I did it." "Was it crazy to think that a small silver toy of a plane could fly her across the ocean where doctors could make her curled feet straight? If they could, it would change her whole life. What was 1 year compared with a whole lifetime of walking? If the doctors can help me the way you helped me, how can I refuse? She asked. I must take this chance, even though it is hard, even though I will have to leave home again. She stood up and Medea wrapped her arms around Rebecca's waist. You are right, she said. I don't want you to leave, but you are right. Together they walked back into the house and found Mama and Papa and this woman still talking. When do I leave? Rebecca asked before she could start crying again. There were days and weeks and months of waiting and working. There were trips to the city and forms to sign and permission to get from people in government. She met her translator, Anna, who would travel with her and stay in America for a few days so Rebecca could ask questions and understand what was happening. She received an album filled with photos of the people she would live with in America. She recognized the man who had given her the candy. Clay, Clay, she said over and over so she wouldn't forget his name. If you go to America, you'll never return, she overheard one of her neighbors warn. Never return? Why? Rebecca felt panic begin to rise, making it hard to breathe. Don't worry, they are just jealous that you get to go to America, Papa said when she told him. Rebecca looked down at her feet as the panic drained away. Nobody has ever been jealous of me before. Someone from Africa New Life bought her a suitcase and filled it with more clothes than she'd ever owned before. Mama made matching dresses for her and Medea that they wore for a special family picture. The day before it was time to go, Rebecca folded her dress carefully and put it in her suitcase, and Mama added a small blue handkerchief stitched with the language that they speak, and I can't even pronounce it, boys and girls. Rebecca ran her finger over the letters, stitched with orange thread. Protect me from grief. I will be your pride. She hoped she would not be too sad, and she hoped to make her parents proud. Papa put the suitcase by the front door, and her family gathered for one last meal together. Papa had killed a chicken for the special occasion, and there was orange Fanta. It was a treat usually reserved for Christmas Day. There were also beans and rice and mango, perfectly ripe from a nearby tree. What if it hurts? Asked Rebecca. Mama put down her bowl and pulled Rebecca into her lap. I knew before you were even born that something was different from my other pregnancies. At first you moved inside of me like all the others had, kicking and squirming, but at 8 months you began to roll. The night you were born, you did not cry, though your body was curled like a snail. It looked as if your hands and feet were bound with twine, and the cord that connected us was already severed. I was shocked. We did not understand, but of course we still loved you. You were our child. We gave you the name Uwatsonzi, Rebecca Uwatsonzi, because you were a peaceful child despite all the hardship you faced. Her older sisters and brother nodded their heads. I remember. Me too. You hardly ever cried, Rebecca. You carry that peace with you still in here, Mama said, touching Rebecca's chest. So do not be afraid. Yes, Mama. She had heard the story before many times. She didn't like the next part. In those early days, Mama continued, it was very hard. The neighbors told me that I should wrap you up in a blanket so tight you couldn't breathe. They told me to leave you by the side of the road and let you die. Papa shook his head and clicked his tongue. Rebecca waited for the next part, her favorite part. I couldn't do it. I looked into your eyes and I knew that you deserved a chance at life. Rebecca leaned closer to Mama, thankful to be alive no matter what her feet looked like. Mama hugged her tight and rocked her like she was a baby. You lived for a reason. You taught yourself to walk, and now you will do this new hard thing, leaving your family to go to America at 9 years old. It may be scary and painful at times, but it will be wonderful too. Store up all your new stories inside yourself, Rebecca, and bring them home to us. Alrighty, we're going to stop there, boys and girls, and we'll continue the next time. See ya.